In this lecture, I will be developing a simple console-based application which actually helps us to walk through the complete form elements. So as we know, SP form is the top level class. Under a form you have many web applications. Under web applications you have many site collections. Under each site collection you've got so many subsites. So the objective of this exercise is to get me the list of all web applications that I have on my SharePoint server. For example, when I click on the manage web applications, you can see I've got 4 different web applications here. And if I click on the application management and click on view all site collections, I can come to know the different site collections that I have under a specific web application. And then under each site collection you have so many subsites. So we would like to have a small program that actually gets me the list of all web applications and what site collections are there under that web application and what subsites are there under that site collection. So this is what we would like to retrieve. To get this done, let's go back to Visual Studio and try to create a new project, and I'm going to call this as SOM Core Classes Demo. It's a console-based application, and say OK. So first of all, from the project properties, as we did earlier, we set the platform target to 64-bit, and also we'll try to take into references Microsoft.SharePoint.dll, which is this one, and say OK. And also we need those two using directive statements like Microsoft.SharePoint and SharePoint.administration. In my previous examples in this section, we have written so many for loops individually, but now we're going to club everything. We will be having so many for loops, one that iterates through web applications, one that iterates through site collections, and one that iterates through the subsites as well. So let me paste the code for you, and now I'll explain the code one by one. So as we know, SP form is the top level class. First of all, I need to get a handle of my local SharePoint form. So we can do that by saying SP form.local. So we now have a proper form object. And just for our understanding, I'm printing my form name, which is by default SharePoint_config. And we've seen in the earlier demonstrations, right under SP form, there are many SP services. So I'm just trying to find out what are the various services that I have on this form. So I can say current form dot services, which is your SP service collection. So one service will come into the service object. And we know that each web application belongs to SP web service. So I'm putting an extra condition here. If this service is SP web service, and you're actually typecasting your service object as SP web service and trying to take that into the SP web service object, and I'm just trying to print for our knowledge what's the display name of our web service. Now all our web applications belongs to this SP web service in fact. So I have now another for loop, another for each loop, wherein I'm trying to create an object of the SP web application web app in my current web service dot web applications. This is your SP web application collection. So one web application will come into the web app object, and I'm printing my web app display name, and also I'm trying to print here how many site collections does this web application has got. So we're trying to say webapp.sites.count. Perfect. So we now got the list of web applications. Now the next step is to get the list of site collections under this web application. So I can say for each SP site, some object name in webapp.sites. So this is your SP site collection. So one object from the sites collection comes into this object, and I'm printing each site collection's URL. Also, we're trying to print how many subsites has it got. So I can say site collection dot allwebs.count. That actually gets me the list of subsites under that site collection. Perfect. So by now we got the web applications. We now got the site collections as well. The next step is to get the list of subsites under each site collection. So we have our site collection object here. So I can say site collection dot allwebs. Allwebs is your SP web collection. So one website will come into the web object, and I'm printing the title of each website, and also I'm trying to find out how many lists does this website has got. And finally, the list object in the SOM core classes is the SP list. I'm trying to print how many lists I have and what are their titles. I'm not printing the title of each list intentionally here. I have actually commented this code. That's because the list will be too lengthy for us to read. So we leave that as in commented state. And finally, we close all our for each loops, and we just display a message to the user once the output is actually ready for us. So let's actually go ahead and try to run this application. And now we should be able to see the list of all web applications running on this SharePoint server, and all the site collections of each web application, and all the subsites that exist in each site collection. Now we're now ready with the output. Let's actually go up a bit and see your form name is SharePoint_config. The very first web application is SPS 2030 training, which contains 5 site collections. And the first top level site collections contains 8 subsites, and you can notice those subsite names here like developers, junior developers, senior developers, and so on. So that's how this program actually uses so many for loops. One that is iterating through all web applications, one that is iterating through all site collections, and one that is iterating through all websites, and so on. So thus this example should give you the clear picture on the SOM core classes hierarchical alignment.